Welcome, everyone. You have now entered the cosmic radio receptors of KCIW 100.7 FM in lovely, beloved,
bubbly,
sunny Oregon.
Brookings,
Oregon.
Just north of the border. Yeah.
Sorry, no wine involved. Thank you for tuning into this week's interesting program in our Ladies First segment. I'm Dr. GiGi, and my co-host is, as always, Jacques Kepner. How are you today on this lovely day?
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show. You haven't been drinking wine. You've been drinking blubbly.
Blubbly.
Yes, blubbly. Special thanks to today's sound engineers, Tony Stoddard and Ray Simon, two very good, industrious men that put these shows together on the technical end, and man, are they ever good.
Ever technical.
They are. Every time. I love hearing you in between ours. You are hearing this live syndicated show right now on KCIW in Brookings, Oregon. Brookings, right? I said Brookings. That said, the same syndicated show will be rebroadcast in exactly 1 week from now, each and every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on our coastal southern friends, KZCH 96.7 FM. And where? Brookings. No, Eureka. Eureka, not Ulrika, but Eureka and Humboldt and Arcadia, California, where the university is. Arcata. So now you know, Dr. GiGi and I have got your coasts covered. Super special show today, and we have a very wonderful visitor, but I want to first say this because it's very important. You're tuned into this nonprofit 501c3 community radio station broadcast, and we are 100% volunteer. Dr. GiGi Reed and yours truly are proactive volunteers, and we will personally vouch for all the great vibes, I should say, and intentions of KCIW. If you are possibly interested in having a show like ours or having fun along with talented local folks in our area, please reach out to kciw.org and start the ball rolling towards producing your own show or helping out the technical, fundraising, marketing, and so many other areas that can use your help right now within the broadcast family of KCIW. We're always looking for happily accomplished volunteers. And that said, we only survive on the charitable contribution of listeners like you. I know you've heard that on PBS, right?
I have.
They would say, hey. But we really do exist on that. And 100% of your monies does go to this unique station and this area. So please go to kciw.org and find out more, and thank you all so very much. Hey, new listeners today. Rike, you were there. These ladies drove by in a little red car, and they stopped, and they looked up, and Rike said, hey, Jacques, some ladies are looking at your art, the alligator head.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went over, came out, and started chatting it up with them. And so a big shout out to Michelle and Christina. I hope you're listening, as you said you might be, and then let's get together soon and create some more art in our wonderful area. And my alligator Felix, he says hello to you. All right, it's that wonderful time when good medicine and health tips are colorfully presented by my German, American-born, multi-patent-holding medical doctor, scientist, former university professor, syndicated broadcaster, and newspaper columnist. And did I mention artist now? You're such an amazing artist. Dr. GiGi Reed, as she talks up matters of medicine that matter most to you. What medical marvels do you have for us today, my dear Dr. GiGi, on this segment of MD-GiGi?
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Many of us know, but many of you listeners do not know that I have an identical twin.
You have who?
Her name is Ulrike, and she has a PhD, and she is a tenured professor of exercise sciences at Brigham Young University.
That's in Utah.
Throughout our school years, we were the only identical twins in our schools, although there were about 2 or 3 sets of fraternal twins.
Okay, I have a
That's
quick
the
question.
backdrop.
A quick question. Are there triplets that are all the same? Identical triplets?
Yeah.
Yeah? They're both shaking their head. These girls do think the same.
Yes.
We had identical triplets in our neighboring town.
Really?
Westphalia. They were identical. Doesn't happen often.
Wow, that would be wild. 2 boys, all girls.
Girls.
All girls. Wow. Cool. That is too cool.
Back to my little
Yes, I'm sorry, doctor.
thing. Twins have long fascinated scientists because they, or us, we, offer a natural way to explore one of the biggest questions in human development. what comes from the genes is inherited and what comes from the environment, right?
Okay.
Identical twins begin as one fertilized egg that splits into two fertilized eggs, and then there are two different people. Fraternal twins come from two separate eggs that were fertilized by two separate sperms. So they're like siblings, normal siblings. But they do, everybody, those twins grow up in basically the same environment, more or less, same parents, same time span. So that's when they can see what is actually more identical twin related, what is fraternal.
So you two were womb mates, right? But then your mom, Hildegard, love mom. Hey, mama, we hope you will hear this. We're real proud of you, but she did have to have you a few weeks early because the doctors were insisting that, she's ready to give birth. She's too big to have. She's ready to go.
Yeah, because they thought they only heard one heartbeat. There was an ultrasound to see that there were babies in it.
That was hers. I told you have no heart.
Right. So one of the earliest, most influential names in twin research is somebody called Francis Galton. In 1875, he published The History of Twins, which was a paper that was and is widely considered the first major attempt to use the twins to study nature, genes, versus nurture. When you grow up together, same thing. So the Galton's idea back then was simple but groundbreaking. If twins start out very similar and remain similar over time, then hereditary issues might be the cause. And if they diverge as they grow, then that's the the nurture taking place.
Okay.
Now, he did not have the modern scientific framework like we have now. It was, 1875, and he collected the data before. So what he actually did is he asked a lot of parents to write down what they remember. And he just said twins are twins. He didn't know if they were identical or fraternal, but so it's a little skewed in about, how the results were laid out. But anyway, it was the first one of its kind.
Wow.
So, as I said, when we grew up, there weren't a lot of identical twins. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if any other do. Are still Pennsylvania? No.
They're talking German.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to. But apparently 1 in 42 babies born worldwide is a twin.
I know. That seemed, I was going to say 1 in 100, every 1,042 is a twin. But
it's 1 in 42. And for those, a third are identical. So, and that is to 1 in 100, they say.
Okay, cool.
They say, but, there are families who have more.
Right.
So fraternal twins are usually running in families because, or in mother's side, because what happens is the mother has to release more than one egg each month, and then she has fraternal twins. Now, to have an identical twin, that's a freak of nature because then a separation takes place that shouldn't have or wasn't really normal to take place.
Do you know what a drummer named his 2 twin daughters?
Who? A drummer?
Yeah, a drummer.
Please tell me.
Anna 1, Anna 2. Okay.
Okay.
Identical
twins are not perfect copies of each other. Did you know that they have non-identical fingerprints? Like they're not the same. A fingerprint is very specific to a person. So identical twin or not, there are different fingerprints. And the little lines in the palms, I know Shnuti, she has one line going through in one hand. And so she
both, actually.
Oh, in both?
Yeah.
She thought when she was little, she thought it's to wave, to be able to wave.
You thought you couldn't wave?
No, she thought the line was to be able to wave
better.
You can wave better because
it's right there.
It's pleated. Cute.
Wow.
Okay. I did not know this, but 25% of identical twins are mirror images of each other. So if one is right-handed, then the other might be, mirror image or left-handed.
Now, I've seen those pictures of you. I guess you and Rika are, 4 o'clock? 4-ish, and you're both wearing dark jackets, dark hat, and you look exactly the same. Black and white photograph. It's really pretty.
And we never smiled in the pictures. I guess my parents said we took it all so seriously.
You took it seriously?
Apparently.
Hey, a husband calls his wife and says to pick up fish and chips on her way home from work. That poor woman really regrets having her husband name her twins. Okay, finally got him. Say something. All right.
So 40% of twins, including my twin sister and I, develop something called cryptophagia.
Oh, I know what that is. I call it facial prognosia. Right, where you don't recognize faces?
No, that's prosopagnosia. Cryptophagia is the secret language that some twins or some identical twins, 40%.
Wait a minute. You haven't talked about this. What are you? Is she really serious here?
She's serious.
What is a secret language? It's like the Mason shakes, handshakes or something?
It's not that secret. Nobody else understands it.
But we understood each other, but nobody else.
Almost telepathic, are we talking about?
No, it's just babbling, and we knew what we meant when we were little kids. Like,
when we say hello, but we thought we would say, hey, hello, how are you? But we thought, we couldn't really verbalize it, right? Because we were little, and we both heard the same thing. We both wanted to learn the same thing. We both have the same mouth and the brain, so it came out garbled.
And you knew, though, what she was referring
to. We were like 2 or 3.
Yeah, we were
You don't
little.
remember that then?
No, we don't.
We were told.
We were told many times over that we were talking, and then we were both laughing and pointing, and, we were making sense at that time.
Wow. Okay, so, and that's all also, you're done. Okay. Would you please, while I'm looking at my notes, would you please tell both of you talk a little bit in German and tell what day it is and what special moment it is here on this radio station? Can you say that in German and you answer back? Okay, I can look at my notes.
Was ist heute Besonderes?
Heute sind wir auf dem Radio und zwar ist heute Mittwoch und so 4 Uhr nachmittags.
Ja, genau, in Berkings, Oregon. Ja, so.
Bubbly? Okay, very good. I'm ready.
Ja.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Und sie kam erst gestern angefahren, ne?
Mhm, genau.
Are you making fun of me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tony, did you get that? All right, he did get that. He's a smart guy. Welcome to the Doc and Jacques show here in beautiful Bowling, Oregon, where the ocean breeze is fresh, the coffee is roasted dark and strong, and today's guest is truly something very, very special. Now, I've had the pleasure and honor of calling Dr. GiGi my partner for quite some time, but today we get to meet someone who proves that one remarkable woman simply is not enough for this world. Nearly 64 years ago in Germany, I was supposed to say 34 years ago.
How rude.
Yeah, GiGi and her identical twin sister, Rike, made their grand entrance into this world, and a wonderful embryo did not split down the middle and doubled. Rike Mitchell is one half of that equation as a twin to Dr. GiGi, as you just heard about. Rike has spent nearly 20 years as a professor at Brigham Young University in Utah, shaping minds in human physiology, anatomy, and physical therapy. Yes, she's the kind of person who knows exactly how your body works and probably why you shouldn't have skipped stretching this morning. But what's truly fascinating is the difference and the dynamic between these two. They don't just look similar. They think alike, they move alike, and occasionally seem to share the same wavelength entirely. The way you sing when you walk around the house, the kitchen, and...
Who are you talking to?
Both of you.
Okay.
Where you sing and just jibber-jabber, and it's so cute, and I'm picking it up on both of you. It's like watching science meet something just a little bit more magical. Now, Rike is no stranger to this microphone either. She has stepped in as a co-host alongside Dr. GiGi before when I've been out of town a couple times, right? And with it, she's brought insight, fun, and just enough sibling energy to keep things interesting, especially when I've been away. And while Rike brings brilliance and experience, she also carries a deep curiosity about life's rarities, those unusual, complex conditions that remind us just how intricate the human body can be, the kind of stories that stay with you. So today, the doc and yours truly are not just welcoming a guest, we're welcoming a family, an intelligent and truly unique, prospectively shaped women. Rike, welcome back to the West Coast and gracing the radio waves with us on the Doc and Jacques radio show.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And our new friend, your new friend, you met yesterday, Joe Vogel. We're going to have to mention that you've spent the last 17 hours here and 13 of them with Joe, right? You guys are like
he is
paired
awesome.
up. He's an astrophysicist, and he is our neighbor right up the street, and he is a very, Very interesting. Okay, Doc, lead us off with the questions. We're going to be asking your
Really?
twin.
I'm supposed to ask this?
Just why not?
All right. Rika, twin sister, where were you raised?
I was raised in the Black Forest in Germany, beautiful Zunzweier, 3,500 people.
Nice. And what's the big town just a little way with the castle up on the hill?
Oh, that's Ortenberg.
Yeah.
But Offenbach is the real big, 60,000.
Okay, Rika, in 10 words, what's it like being a twin to Gundi or Gigi?
Okay, I'm thankful you gave me a little bit of time.
Yeah, thank you.
I came up with 2. The first one is a little more revealing, meaning in terms of growing up, and the second one is kind of funny. So my first 10-word rendition is German childhood, horses and gymnastics, cycling the Alps together, twins, distinct and inseparable.
That's 10 words? Wow. Very good. That's sweet. That's
We
heartfelt,
did everything together.
Right?
We also bickered, right?
So the other one is twin doctors, different prescriptions. She heals bodies, I study them.
Right on. Okay. All right. Now, was there much who was the better student in high school? I understand it was you.
Everything is schnully. I was never a good student.
Except I would have never studied medicine. There is no way I could have done it.
Yeah. I know. Okay, but that's cool.
No, I wasn't
You're
either.
both unique in wonderful ways. All right, Gigi, it's back in your
Okay.
corner.
When did you first come to the United States?
It was December 16th, 1990. Oh, first you mean?
Yeah.
First. Sorry. I was actually here before my sister.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She was an au pair in Marietta.
Actually, I was
Marietta,
a student
Georgia?
teacher, and I was brought over with no pay, but I was allowed to stay with a family for free, but they thought I was an au pair or a nanny, except I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you taught, huh? Very cool.
Very different.
And that was like in 86 or something.
Yeah, something.
Okay, what brought you to the Salt Lake City, Utah region? You, not me, since I lived there too for over 20 years.
So after I married my husband and was working as a PT in the States, because I was a PT in Germany, he is...
PT is physical therapist.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's an alumni of Brigham Young University, and I wanted to continue my schooling, and he said he would be really impressed if I got a degree from BYU. So that's all it took, and we moved to Provo, Utah.
Right now, your husband's name is Bill.
Bill?
So a big shout out to Bill,
Yep.
who can listen to this, as all of you may at a later point by going to kciw.org and going to past shows and clicking on the Doc and Jacques, and there it will be. So again, a big shout out to him.
So tell us, what do you teach and where and how and why?
Okay, so I got my PhD in the exercise sciences department at BYU, and 2 years after I was done, I started as a faculty in that same department, and I teach anatomy, orthopedic anatomy, if you will, and orthopedic impairment. So basically, I'm using my PT knowledge and experience and package it up differently and teach those 2 classes with it.
Now, do you deal with your BYU, a big university with a big athletic program? Are you dealing with athletic injuries?
Now, they have their own...
Do they have their own world?
Everything, athletic trainers and PTs and their own doctors. We can't touch them.
You can't, even if they come limping in?
Well, if they were in my class and they asked me, I would touch them, but
Yeah, because
still
they're all
protected.
students, right?
Yeah.
They're all students.
But they're protected just in case somebody messes up like me. I wouldn't, of course, but they don't know that.
Of course not. Okay, so you teach all these heavy words. What for? Who's being trained?
Okay, so those students are undergrads, the one of the 2 classes I just mentioned, and most of them are going to PT school, chiropractic school, occupational therapy, and most of them actually medical school. So it's all like a pre-graduate program classes that I teach.
Have you been doing it nearly 20 years?
Yep, 18. I just finished my 18th year.
Congratulations.
But you also have graduate students.
I do.
What are they graduating in?
Exercise sciences.
For being a professor?
Well, I do have PhD students, but most of them are master's students. And yeah, they're just either going to go further and get their PhD, or they work at bigger companies maybe for their health area.
Is this a growing area of employment, or is it it's not influenced too much by AI, I would think?
Oh, that's an excellent point, actually. So they have job security. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of need a therapist to be the touchy-feely person, right? You can't have AI unless it's touching your brain.
So that reminds me, in Germany, when I studied biology and I got a master's degree in biology, my dad said, you can't do anything with biology. What do you want to do? And back then, like, I'm guessing like Rike's patients, you just want to do it. It's interesting. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to study biology, which I did. And if I would have stayed in Germany, I wouldn't have gotten a job because it is a dead end thing. So, so that's why I'm wondering when people go to
school. You could have been a teacher or something like that, possibly.
Yeah, I was actually credentialed to do a secondary, high school teaching, but that's not.
Okay, let's refocus this conversation and kind of go into something that I just find so fascinating. When I first heard that that Rike, you were going to be talking about this subject, I just stopped dead in my tracks. I just had to catch my breath. I had to fan myself a little bit. I poured a little water on my back. I was kind of, I had a hot flash. That is this fascinating thing in our bodies called the diaphragm. Okay. And I thought, we're going to talk about the diaphragm? How are we going to fill up the show with a diaphragm? But for listeners who may not think about it too often, which for me, I never really quite knew where it was, what does the diaphragm actually do and why is it so central to breathing?
So first of all, the name is kind of weird. Diaphragm means thin membrane between cavities, and that's exactly what the diaphragm is. It's the thin muscle membrane that separates the body into an upper and a lower half, and it's the main muscle that powers breathing, something that people probably don't think about when they breathe.
It's an organ because it's a muscle. It's a muscle. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's how very interesting.
Okay, and it is covered. So our body is basically Hafford, and that's throughout the whole part of it from the front to the back, because when we're talking about this subject about the diaphragm, Jacques put like the hands in front of him in a circle and he said,
right
kind of like there.
Right underneath the bottom of my sternum, right?
Yeah, but it goes through.
Right, the top of your rib cage or something.
So the rib cage is
right there, and I thought, what's this diaphragm? Hey, speaking of whether it's a muscle or an organ, I recently streaked through church. Did you hear about me?
No.
Yeah, they caught me by the organ. Okay, come on, please laugh. That was a good, Tony's laughing on that one. In a church streaking? Okay.
All right. What is the most common misconception people have about how breathing works?
So I have two. The main one is I think people don't realize that the lungs themselves don't suck in air. It's the diaphragm that pulls the lungs down, and therefore air can be breathed in.
Bellows.
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
bellow?
Exactly. And then I think another misconception is that bigger breaths are better, which sometimes they are.
Breaths.
Breaths, she said very clearly, Mr. 17-year-old.
Darn it. Shoot. I heard what I heard. Why is the diaphragm sometimes described as the main muscle of breathing? So that's what you're saying? It pulls down your lungs.
Yeah. So this is really the big and main muscle that helps us breathe. Other muscles can assist. For example, they're called
scalene, intercostal.
Yeah. All of those muscles, they help to for the rib cage to be pulled up so the lungs can have space to expand up. But the diaphragm is there for the lungs to be pulled down. That's much more efficient, and air gets sucked in.
So is that one of the most surprising things that people usually learn when they study the diaphragm?
I think the most surprising thing is that the diaphragm really never stops working. We all know that the heart never stops, right? We think about that often. But the diaphragm is just as amazing. It has to contract each time we take a breath. Now, it doesn't have to, but it makes breathing much more efficient and easier. And it works throughout all of our lives. under normal
birth till the grave, your
Cradle to the
diaphragm.
grave. So wait, back off. It's not always better to breathe deeply? That's news to me. Please expound.
Yeah. So what I was saying, it's not always good to just take deep breaths, right? Controlled deep breaths through belly breathing is much more important than
belly breathing, yes.
Than how much air you suck in.
So when last time I was walking from the beach up to the house and I hear Jacques behind me doing something weird and I turn around and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I read Rike's paper and she explained how to do the belly breathing."
Well, and I love it. Now I think about it a lot more because instead of just breathe in and fill in your lungs, I first breathe in and fill up my belly first and then come up into my lungs. And that's a part of meditation. That's part of a lot of religion. That's a lot of yoga, right? I'm not mistaken.
So I think the big or an important point is that the diaphragm has to do it day in, day out. We're not going to devote one part of the brain saying, "Okay, diaphragm, don't slack now," because I'm breathing, I'm sleeping.
It's an automatic thing.
So it is an automatic thing, but we can be saying, "I want to breathe deeper. I want to take a deep breath," or you don't think about it. So it's a skeletal muscle by definition. Skeletal muscles are under voluntary control.
Wait a minute. I can't. Yeah, maybe you're right. When I bend over, all my muscles in my back aren't. Well, I'm bending over. I mean, right?
Okay, Schnurli, wisst ihr, was zur autonomic nervous system sagt?
Well, it's really special because it is doubly innervated, meaning we can influence it, like you said. But if we don't say, "Okay, let's push that diaphragm down so our lungs can inflate," our brain gives it automatically some kind of impulse, and it does it automatically, like you said.
Yeah. So what about the polio people? People have, in the 60s when they had polio, they were in the iron lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that breathes for them.
Well,
Yeah,
it just pushed pressure onto the chest and then relieved the pressure. So
Really?
instead of the lungs being pulled down, it was just they were squeezed out like sponges. And then when the pressure was let go, they were able to suck in air.
Interesting. I think of autonomic things like your nails growing, your hair growing, your digestion. You don't have any control. Well, you do have control over digestion because if you don't eat, you're not going to digest.
Okay, that has absolutely zero to do with it.
Okay, well,
but it was a good thought.
Okay, I'm the non-one doctor in here. Is there about a myth? Isn't there something? What if you had to correct a myth? What is that, doctor? Well, you were asking that earlier.
Okay, if there would be a myth about breathing in a single sentence, what would it be? If you want to ask my question, go ahead and ask it.
Okay. I love your open hand. She's offering the palm leaf. Yeah, are there any myths that we should not...
Do you think of any myths? What's the myth? What are you talking about?
Maybe what I said earlier, more breathing is not always better, but efficient breathing is when you slower, more quieter, and use belly breathing is better.
Okay, so
maybe I can answer something like that, even though it's not my question.
Sure.
I don't know if it's a myth. However, I want to say if you do the deep breathing, you activate the parasympathetic
that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
nervous system. So I think maybe that's what you meant. So that's why a lot of meditation does the deep breathing. So it activates the parasympathetic. It's the rest and digest hormone.
Wonderful.
Autonomic nervous system.
We will come right back because time flies when we're having fun. It's already mid-break time here on the Doc and Jacques radio show, proudly broadcasting from the KCIW 100.7 FM studios in lovely coastal Bubbly, Oregon. The list of major sponsors, Brookings, technically for the FCC, pardon me. Advanced Airlines is one of our major sponsors, and they are flying in and out of nearby Crescent City to Oakland and LA 7 days a week. A big thanks to another supporter, Michelle Ramos, with our own vibrant local Curry County Chamber of Commerce. Hello to you. Nick and Lisa Rail, big shout out, and their PPA or Partnership for the Performing Arts. Welcome aboard, and thanks for your support. A new major supporter of community radio has just joined the team, and that is Coastal Home Health and Hospice, serving Northern California, Southern Oregon, and it is an exemplary, emotional, and helpful nonprofit organization here to help us as we grow older and transition from one house to another, and an employer of my dear Dr. GiGi, who's the co-director of hospice. And then lastly, my dear co-host, Dr. GiGi Reed, and yours truly, on behalf of KCIW, thanks to all of you. All right. Roll back up here. I had a question. Let me see.
Well, I think what I should ask is, what makes diaphragmatic breathing with the diaphragm, different from other breathing patterns?
Okay, I actually like that because we kind of talked about it. When we use belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, that is where we push out the belly and the diaphragm comes down and pulls the lungs down with them, and they basically have an underpressure and they suck in air. That's much more efficient. It brings much more oxygen that can then be exchanged into the blood, and it is more healthy than other breathing patterns. For example, the chest breathing, right? When you only bring up your chest up and down and therefore only create a little bit of space for the lungs to expand.
Okay, I found out that by laying on my back and just taking, getting in kind of meditative state and then taking in, but not through my chest, filling up my belly first. It took a bit of practice to get my belly to fill up first, and then the last fill up was just this. And again, what is it doing, ladies? It's oxygenating the blood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is heavily involved through your heart and your lung area.
Advantageous for you to have body.
So that is very interesting. And it was something that after I did it multiple times, I'll tell you what, I got super relaxed. I was there like, oh, that really is different. It's about time I figured these things out. I'm only 48 now, so it's about half my life is over, but I better get it right.
So we are now on the radio, so you can't really demonstrate like Jacques has done and nobody can see it. So if you could give us a few simple breathing exercises, what would you tell us? And especially since part of this diaphragm research is your research, right?
Right.
A little bit. So you do other research too, but that's part of it. So how would you go ahead and answer this if somebody
So if I was to describe or guide somebody through proper breathing, I would tell them, and I'm telling you on the radio right now, to put your hands onto your belly.
We're doing this. We're all standing. Okay, we go.
Yeah. You can sit, lie down, stand, whatever. It really doesn't matter.
Okay,
and then you want to push the belly out by hopefully trying to push the diaphragm down towards your tail, basically. And that, it creates an underpressure in your lungs. You can almost hear how the lungs, in my case, you did hear, how the lungs get inflated with air. The further down that diaphragm gets pushed and the further out the belly gets pushed into your hands, the deeper is your breath and the more oxygen will reach the blood. That is the most important thing. And like you said, it's actually hard for people to do it if they hadn't done it for their lives.
Right. Well, I did it easily in bed. Right here, sitting up in the chair, it's a little bit different. It feels different. It's a little harder for me to do that, but it is cool.
And it's really hard for me, for example, all my life, every time we want to suck in our stomach to look thin. So that's the opposite, right? You don't want to suck in your stomach. You want to go
push it out.
Push it out.
Yeah.
And goes the...
Is that what you did all your life? Suck in your stomach?
Well, I had to really, we were always told by my grandma, shoulders up, stomach in. Because of that, I had really good stomach muscles during Taekwondo. I was probably the best one because that's what I did. But I haven't done it for a long time. So maybe now I can do belly breathing.
Yeah, and it's, is there anything like, I read a couple of, take a slow breath in, 8 seconds, which is kind of a long time.
Yeah. And you're right. I was going to say, take 4 seconds and the count of 4 to breathe in. Keep it in for 4 seconds. And then through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a candle, except not that heavily or strongly, you breathe it out again for 4 seconds.
Like you're cooling down that hot spoonful of soup.
There we go. That's good.
All right. Where are we? Would you take one of the questions?
Yeah.
I'm lost.
I'm
in a state of yoga.
Are there people who should be cautious about using breathing exercises, or should they be guided more carefully?
So this is a double-edged sword, I think, because people who have respiratory diseases, they should be doing good, guided, well-organized breathing exercises. Of course, they should be guided. I can't just tell you over the radio, this is what you need to do. Or people with panic disorders, because they might just breathe too fast and something. And
hyperventilate?
Yeah, for example. Or people with cardiovascular conditions or some people who get dizzy easily, right? There should be some caution with the breathing exercises.
We have a mutual friend and a very talented musician, Frank Giancoli, and of the Mighty Steelheads, and the Italian guy. He's a very talented guy. And he recently wrote on Facebook, posted, he said, hey, you know what? Try to hold. When I was a kid, I could hold my breath for 60 minutes, and you could do 60 seconds. Pardon me, 60 seconds. If you could do, you're a he-man. Well, I did mine for like a minute and 10 seconds, and she saw me turning blue over there, and I go, when I went, let it out. I was like, she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm holding my breath. I like to hold my breath for a long time." She says, "You just burned up 1 billion brain cells." If I burn, so I'm Frank Giancoli, don't do that anymore. And don't certainly be a proponent of that. My goodness, my poor brain.
Yeah, 60 minutes is too long.
60 minutes, I love it. That's my last
There are
breath.
people actually, so we live here and we have this, I think in the Smith River, there are these diving pools, these really deep areas and so they go deep diving or whatever it's called, but just by holding their breath. And there are people who can hold their breath for several minutes, and they train.
What about the people in Fiji and that go down and get the conch shells 30 feet deep?
Yeah.
And they spend some time down there. They have lunch and a little tea. And they're down there, too. You take over the questions. I kind of lost my place. I'm intrigued
In
by this breathing.
exercise physiology, why does breathing matter beyond just getting oxygen in and carbon dioxide out?
Okay, so I can address that a little more. So the interesting thing is that the diaphragm attaches to the spine. So it's kind of like a dome or parachute-shaped muscle that in the middle attaches to the spine, or maybe more in the back towards the spine. And then it kind of folds over like a parachute onto the ribs anteriorly in the front.
I thought it was right underneath my sternum here in the front, but you're saying the spine's in the back.
Yeah. Well, it has to go somewhere.
It goes through?
Oh, heck. I mean, I made a point of studying the diaphragm.
Yeah, it's so cool. So because it attaches to the spine, when you kind of, let's think about going to the bathroom and you hold your breath and you push something out, for example, that increases the pressure within your abdomen, right, which is called the intra-abdominal pressure. And that pushes against the spine. So that's just one example, how you use the diaphragm for posture. Anytime you use the diaphragm or you kind of challenge your spine, the diaphragm has to make sure that it's stabilized. So it's not just a breathing muscle. That's the way we know it, right? It's also a postural muscle, and therefore it helps with core stability, and it helps with blood flow. Just because it can increase the pressure within the abdominal cavity, it kind of can halt the venous blood flow, or it can support it.
Okay, and the venous blood flow is what? That is what?
The blood flow back to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what is it when you're getting it down? The blood splits into your legs.
That's the arteries.
The arteries. Now, when you are pushing, let's say, in the sense when you are in the restroom, is that using the diaphragm?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's called the Valsalva maneuver. Yes.
Wow, they named
it. Has a name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, activates the autonomic nervous system.
Wow. Is that bad for you? Good for you?
Yeah, you should not. So next time when you go to the bathroom, you should breathe out while you're trying to squeeze something out.
Wait a minute. Let me think. Okay, we're not going to do that. But they're German. What can I say? Well, fascinating. Ask some more questions, Doc. I've lost my place.
Do you have glasses on?
Yeah, I do, but I'll find it after this.
Are there any signs if somebody may not be breathing efficiently or rightfully during exercises? Because if you are a ballerina dancer and or a basketball player or a football player, I'm sure the breathing should be a little bit different. How is that being taught, or how do you know if they're not, besides them turning blue and falling over?
Yeah, that was actually my first advice. If somebody turns blue, there is some problem with it. But you already said it, so there goes my thunder. I would look at shoulder or chest movements. If the shoulders are rounded or being pulled up, then the person is trying to increase their chest breathing, right? Because let's say you're a runner and you're exhausted. When you are done with the running, you put your hands on your hips. That elevates your rib cage, and the lungs have more space to expand. They kind of get pulled up, and so the air floats.
Well, that's why those runners do that?
Because
wait a minute. I'm
going
to sidetrack you here, but you have to tell quickly the story about the marathon. Most people think the marathon is 26 miles. You told me this morning.
So it's 26.2 miles right now, but it used to be 24 miles until there was this, I don't know whether it was the Olympics. I think it was the Olympics. It was in London. And the Queen wanted for the marathon to either go by her little balcony.
Buckingham Palace, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was Buckingham Palace. She wanted it to end there or come by there. So they had to add 2.2 miles. And so each time when we used to, I don't run anymore, we used to run the marathon at mile 24, we'd say, "Hail to the Queen," and crawl to the next 2.2 miles.
Queen Victoria. All right. So what happens in the body when breathing becomes shallow or overly rapid, let's say both, during stress or exertion? Are there any red flags that are just naturally built into our lives through breathing?
So I'm not 100% sure whether you want to hear this, but I want to come back to the autonomic nervous system and the breathing. So when the autonomic nervous system, especially the fight or flight nervous system, is activated, we will breathe shallower and faster, like we're excited or we are afraid. And if we now maliciously, like we want to change this to a more relaxed breathing, we have to go deeper, belly breathing, like the 4 seconds in, 4 second holding, 4 second out, and that will shift the fight or flight response nervous system to the relax.
Rest and digest. Parasympathetic is up. The parasympathetic nervous system is activated by deep breathing. We are testing that in our medical, where I work in the center, with the so-called ANSWER, the Autonomic Nervous System Assessment and Response Test. So we're testing all that.
And what are the new GLP-1 inhibitors, the Ozempic and Wegovy? Hold on, because it puts you in the stress.
No, so they're glucagon-like proteins, and glucagon happens to be one of the stress hormones.
Indicators or runners.
It's not like you're stressed. It's the glucagon, which is a stress hormone, like protein, that actually makes it so the sugar will be available for those muscles.
Rike, what is this? Now I'm finding out this very, like a parachute-shaped muscle, the diaphragm. Is it in terms of, what does it have to do with form or in tendon? Are there?
So tendons are the ends of muscles with which the muscle attaches to the bone, for example. So the interesting thing with the diaphragm, other than a lot of other things, is that the tendon is in the middle. It's called the central tendon, and that's where it attaches to the spine. And then the other ends, like fingers, they go to the ribs.
Okay. I think I get that. Doc? I got another great question.
Oh, have it.
Okay. If listeners were to remember just one thing from this conversation about the diaphragm, what do you think it should be?
Maybe the diaphragm is one of the most active and important muscles in the body, and learning to breathe well can positively affect both physical and mental health.
Right on. And I think there's a lot of people in yoga. We've had yoga people on our practitioners, and we've had meditating people on the thing. And it's all about breathing.
Breathing, you're right.
Right?
Breathing.
Whole
Lamaze
religion. Lamaze?
Lamaze.
Right. Don't push. Remember? Don't push. Oh, that would...
Lamaze is a breathing thing.
Yeah, that's a breathing thing. It's mainly just to keep the husband or the man calm. What questions about breathing do you wish more students or patients would ask you? Because you're...
So as a PT, let's say, or as a coach or one of those healthcare providers, patients now ask often, how much air should I breathe in? Or how strong should I breathe in? Or how strong should I breathe out? But I think the more important or the better question is asked, how do I breathe more efficiently? Or am I breathing more efficiently? So much more important than am I taking in enough air?
Wow.
Efficiently as in oxygen going to the bloodstream, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I now know more about the diaphragm than I ever did before.
Can I add a little something?
Sure, please do.
So the reason why this deep breathing and the shallow breathing make a big difference, because we're buffering our blood with the CO2, carbon dioxide versus oxygen. So we're taking in oxygen, we're breathing out carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is actually one of the main buffers in the blood to keep the pH at 7.35 or 43 or something like that. 7 point something. And if we are taking away the buffering CO2, then we acidify, we make the blood more acidic. Vice versa, if we're deep breathing or holding the breath and we keeping too much CO2 in our blood, then we're alkalinizing it, which is detrimental to the life. It can be detrimental. You
Our
can
health.
become life. You can become comatose either way. In those situations. So if you've had diabetic ketoacidosis, it's because the pH of the blood is upset and the brain cannot support it. You're out cold.
I know stress is a big driver of disease and pleasant.
Yeah, and that's part of it.
Part of life is spent in stress, and it's deadly, right? I mean, it's not good. Now the blood, talking about the blood becoming oxygenated and then returning to your favorite organ, the kidneys. She loves the kidneys. They're the driver of blood pressure, which blew my mind. I thought it was always so hard. Off the cuff, Rike, what's your favorite of the organs? Now, Dr. GiGi says the kidney. Do you have any something that just fascinates you other than the diaphragm?
Yeah, I love the plantaris muscle, for example.
Okay, what is that?
It's in the knee.
Wow.
And the quadratus plantae. And I tell you why I like both of them. They are completely selfless. They're there for other things to work. So since you were asking.
So a knee muscle and then a plantar, I'm taking it as the
foot? It's like in the foot, yeah. And when it contracts, it only contracts so the flexor tendons can pull the toes straight and not obliquely.
I can see her. She's saying, "Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our little thing. This is selfless. It's just whatever." Okay, another few questions off the cuff since we have done some time here. How was it when you first started teaching at BYU? At BYU is pretty much I think more. Well, was it originally a men's college and then it became no? It just seems like. With your at University of Utah, GiGi, when you went to were a researcher there for years, and then when you went to medical school, guess what? They said, "No, you can't. We're not going to accept you here."
They have mostly men there because maybe not anymore, because they don't have to do the guidelines. It's not a state, or it wasn't.
Right, and I'm saying this because it's a ladies' first edition. And
ladies first.
Of ladies first is that women that have made it strongly and well, those who excel at what they do best, such as yourself, in predominantly a men's world. So congratulations for what you've been doing and bringing that dynamic, and you certainly know your knee, foot, and diaphragmatic muscles. Okay, what else? What do you want me to do, Doc? She's
okay, so first of all, I think she has some shout-outs.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. I want to give a big shout-out to BYU, the school who sponsored my trip out here so I can talk about my research, which is actually about the aging diaphragm. We didn't get to talk about that.
Aww.
But I also want to give a shout out to my family in Utah, which is my daughter-in-law, Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
We already gave
she
a
was
little
here.
shout out to Bill, but we'll do it again.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
And my daughter, Hannah, with her family, Devin and Winona, and David, who is right now in Austria, because they're singing in Finland and in Germany with the BYU choir.
How many languages does David speak?
He speaks Persian,
Farsi?
English, and German. That's it.
That's it. Okay. All right. I mean, that's a good start. Farsi is pretty neat that he would. Is that what you call it?
Farsi, yeah.
We
Persian,
say
yeah.
Persian.
We say Persian.
Persian, yeah.
You know, we have our little cryptophagia.
I have some Persian pickles for Friday. They are. This is small cucumber pickles. They're really, really good. All right, Doctor. What I would like to ask you one more. Just please tell me what is it about the aging? You referred to the aging of the diaphragm.
Yeah, isn't it amazing that the muscle that has to work constantly, like every breath we take, is endangered of aging, meaning as many people age, they get something that's called sarcopenia, where the strength of the muscle goes down, the muscle mass goes down with age. And the diaphragm seems to be a little bit immune to a certain part. I mean, not 100% immune. If we get really old, then we also experience sarcopenia, meaning decreased function and decreased mass and decreased strength of the diaphragm, but it comes later than all the other muscles.
Interesting. I did not
So
know.
it's aging. And Dr. GiGi, is there diaphragmatic, diaphragmatic
Pragmatic.
cancer? Do people get cancer?
Probably.
with
I mean,
diaphragm?
muscles can be
Extremely rare.
sarco.
Extremely
I
rare.
don't know. Yeah, I've never heard from my.
Because it seems like it's being used all the time, right? And
Yeah.
constantly under stress. And I am interested in it very, very much so that now I know more about the thing. Okay, let's turn back. We have a few minutes. I want to turn back to something that I think would be a lot of fun and continuing on the story of their twin status, the two of you. You've been both of you are twins, and you have that's a very unique part of your story. What was some of those experiences? Tell us some of the fun experiences, both of you, in German and English, about some of what it was like growing up as twins.
So a lot of people ask me, how was it being a twin? And that's all we know. That's all we know. Twin was being normal, right? We had a twin sister, and people might have looked at us a little differently, but we didn't really notice, because I do. When I look at twins, I'm like, oh, look, there's twins, although we grew up as twins, but I never thought it was crazy cool. And I remember, Gundi, do you remember? We would play that we had a triplet sister.
Oh yeah, Monica.
Yeah. We always wanted to have
Monica, like voodoo?
Monica.
Oh, Monica.
And we wanted to have a triplet sister, because then we would be special, but just being twins wasn't really.
I remember my mom telling us when we were little that they picked us up from kindergarten or something like that. And, you know, we weren't special, but apparently other kids thought we were, because when my mom was waiting for us to come out, she heard another kid run out and tell their mom, I touched one of the twins.
I touched it. It's a unicorn. Better watch it. Let me get my glasses on. That is very, very unique. So the way how people saw you and how you saw yourself, it was just normal. It was just like you guys.
Yeah, like we're twins. That is normal. How I don't recognize faces is normal. If you don't know that other people have something differently, then everything is normal.
And I know that you have synesthesia a little bit less than Gundi.
Yes, less.
A little
but
less.
I do have it, so I know what she's talking about.
Wow, that is so bizarre, because we ask that of a lot of guests, especially musicians, right? Whether they have synesthesia and synesthesia.
Yeah, and so the weird thing is when I say I have synesthesia, meaning I see colors in numbers to a degree, and it's totally normal because that's how it is. We grew up with that. But when we had our guest, David Sedgwick, here, and he says, oh, yeah, I have it. And he's a musician, and he says, oh, yeah, E flat is like brown waves. And I thought...
Right.
Wow, that's really weird. Maybe that's why people think my thingy is weird.
He sees equations when he does piano. When he plays piano, he sees it in equations, not in notes.
So weird.
You see numbers
it's different,
as colors.
I should say. It's
and what is your
weird.
favorite color?
Mine?
Orange.
Orange.
What number is orange?
24.
24. Do you have any of that at all? Do you have a favorite color and associated number with it?
Not really like her.
But what she wanted, she always had 13 as her favorite. And that's like a dusky rose.
Well, then you'd like my birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
May
13 is a cool number.
5.
Now, I want to emphasize that my favorite number is 28, which is not my favorite color.
And why?
Isn't that weird?
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Right? Wow. Okay.
So you asked us before if people ever mix us up.
Yeah. Do they still ever mix you up?
No, well, not right now.
Not right now.
We have nurture versus nature. We have diverged. However,
beautiful.
The fun thing is when we already looked a little bit different. Oh, no, this is actually a funner thing, the story that we just talked about today. I came over in 87 as a nanny, and I lived in Chicago, Naperville. And where, Simon also did. Ray Simon also lived. And I was a nanny there, and I lived there, and then for 6 months, and then I moved to Utah, and they stayed in Chicago. And then fast forward 20 years or so.
Okay.
And somebody waves at Rike, who now is a BYU professor, wave all over, and they said, "Hey, Gundi, me, how are you?" Which is funny. 20 years in the future, they see my twin and thought it was me.
I haven't heard that story yet. How cool is that?
Pretty awesome, right?
Right.
Very nice.
I'm wearing that new, you smell that nice, speaking of breathing and smelling, you smell that nice cologne that I'm wearing?
No.
Makes me smell like $1 billion.
Yeah? How come? What is it?
It's called Elon's Musk. I started out with nothing, and I still have most of it, doctor. And after a month of dieting, I lost 30 days. So give us some quotes. We have 2 minutes left. We got a climb corner. Thank you, Rike. That was interesting. Now I know a lot about the diaphragm. What are you going to talk about next time you visit us?
Achilles tendon.
The Achilles tendon?
Maybe.
Which is a big sports injury thing, right? Okay.
Okay, here goes my quote.
Okay.
The classic quote. We're twins. We're basically the same.
Okay, I'm paying you back.
Okay. Another one. Twins. God's way of saying one of you is rough to draft only.
Very interesting. You know, one of Dr. Gigi's patients is the Invisible Man. He is still waiting to be seen, doctor.
Hey, twins are the only people who can borrow your life story, their life story.
Nice. Indecisiveness is my new favorite word. Well, actually, maybe it's not.
Okay, I have a little FYI.
Right.
Chung and Ing Bunker are conjoined twins from Thailand, which was called Siam.
Siam.
Or Siam. Right. And so in the 19th century, they toured as the famous people, but that's where the Siamese twin name comes from.
Wow.
Yeah,
how cool is that? Cool. Siamese twin. Dr. Gigi is driving me to drink, but it's a lot cheaper than using Uber. Okay, well, it's time to go, Doc. We gotta close this up.
Okay, well then.
Thank you.
Listen to this. You have been listening to Doc and Jacques on KCIW 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon.
There we go.
We hope you enjoyed our show as much as we have learning about my twin sister, Dr. Rike Mitchell.
Yeah, so true. Peace and love, everybody. I'm trying to find out where I am, but we will see you again next week. And who do we have on next week, Doc? Do we know? I think, it's the Finners. Coming on about with a High Note Winery. People.
And stay tuned because up next is
Tony
Durso
Show.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Rike.
Thank you, Julie, for coming in.
Appreciate the sound engineers. Thank you. Bye-bye.